G'day everyone. Today we're going to take a look at the Customers app in Simply Business. And so if we have a look at the list here, we'll see once again some very familiar options. We've got the ability to add a new customer. We've got the ability to include any archived customers. We can filter by tags and we can search for any customer information to find the particular customer we're looking for, name, email, phone number, etc. Now the tags option lets us tag customers with certain tags, and we did create one example tag in the setup video called yellow, but we'll go into a customer and create a more useful tag and show how they can be used. So we have our 3 customers here. 2 of them we've been using to create a logo for, and one we fixed a printer for. That was ABC Mowers and XYZ Mowers. But we've also created our own company, demo company, as a company. And that's just so that if we have any internal projects, like internal meetings, Monday, Friday meetings, whatever we have, we can create projects internally and assign them to that customer, which is our own company, because every project needs a customer. So we have to create our own company as a customer so we can assign those internal projects to ourselves. If we go into XYZ Mowers here, we can see some contact information about XYZ Mowers, and we'll just go down to tags here, and we can see that that yellow tag that we created in setup is here, but we're going to create one called logo design as a tag, and we'll add a new tag. It doesn't exist yet, so we'll create it, and now logo design is against XY Mowers. We can click done, and now we see that it's tagged with logo design. So we can also go to ABC Mowers, because we also do the logo for them, and just tag them with logo design. And then as we do different jobs for, we need to complete a alias, ABC Mowers. Then when we have a look at our list, we can see all of the customers that we've done logo design for, and we can of course filter by logo design, and there we can see these 2 customers have had a logo design done if we filter by tags. So we can go into a customer and have a look at all the associated information for that customer. So if we have a look, we can see the quote that we sent to XYZ logo, and that quote was accepted, $800. We can have a look at all the projects we've done for XYZ Mowers. This is called XYZ logo, and start and finish, so that project is done. And we can have a look at any support tickets that have been submitted for XYZ Mowers, all the open ones. We did do one ticket for XYZ Mowers, but we've closed that, so that doesn't appear here now. So it isn't just looking at associated information with this customer. There is some useful functionality here in the customer under contact. So we can see we have one contact here called Jim. We don't know Jim's last name, but we've got his email, jim@xyzmowers.com, and a mobile number. Now we've turned on grant access to @simpli.business for Jim. Now what that means, there's some information below which tells us what that's going to do. It allows Jim to access the customer portal, and he will be able to see all projects and quotes and support tickets that have been flagged as visible at Simply Business, which would include any that he creates, but also any that you or we create, and we flag it as being available. One thing to note is that once we grant access to Simply Business, Jim will then have the ability to update this information himself, and we will lose the ability to update that information. And that's just so that if, say, Jim corrects the spelling of his last name or enters it because it isn't here, it stops someone coming into the Customers app and changing that when Jim has already entered it. So once Jim has access to update his own information, we lose access to be able to do that here. And then in order to give Jim access to the portal, we just go down to Actions and hit Send Invite. We'll have an email form pop up here with his email and who it's from, and just says, "Hi Jim, below is a link to join our project management software, Simply Business." There's a link there for him to click, and once accepted, he will be able to request new work, view project progress, and submit support tickets. And you can send yourself a copy of this email just in case Jim doesn't get it for some reason, and you can just forward it to him directly. So you send that off, and then Jim will have access to @simpli.business, which is a much more efficient way for him to give you information about the projects and support tickets. Rather than calling you or sending you emails, he can put the information directly in, which will come straight through to your apps, and then you can have discussions back and forth through @simpli.business and through the Simply Business app, and it's a much more simple way for you to keep in contact with your customers.